Next, let's queer up education. Louisiana tells schools to ignore Joe Biden's new LGBTQ+ inclusive Title IX rules. Louisiana's public schools are defying President Biden's Title IX rules against anti-transgender discrimination, set to take effect on August 1st nationwide. The state's education leaders suggested a future lawsuit against the new regulations, with the anti-LGBTQ+ legal group Alliance Defending Freedom already committed to legal action. Louisiana Superintendent of Education, Cade Brumley, expressed in a letter to the schools earlier this week that the new rules may contradict state laws prohibiting trans athletes from competing on teams aligning with their gender identity. Despite the absence of mention of trans athletes in Biden's rules, the Biden administration warned that schools receiving federal funding must comply to avoid potential legal action, Department of Education inquiries, and potential funding cuts. According to to New Orleans Fox affiliate WVUE, Brumley mentioned that the new rules are likely at odds with two bills in the legislature. One bill permits teachers to misgender and dead-name trans students, while the other prohibits the discussion of LGBTQ+ topics across all grade levels. Brumley wrote to the schools, and I quote, "The Title IX rule changes recklessly endanger students to seek to dismantle equal opportunities for females," end quote. Sarah Jane Guidry, executive director of the state LGBTQ+ advocacy organization, the Forum for Equality, told WVUE that Brumley's concern for LGBTQ+ students is non-existent. This is a tough one to read and to kind of think about because, this is not going to be specific, of course, to Louisiana. There's so many states that have similar laws that are going to be challenged. I mean, that's what Title IX is literally meant to do, right, is to actually make sure that states are following the laws and making, right, non-discrimination a key part of acting. I mean, it starts with sport, like whether we've seen Title IX through sports and other spaces, right, thinking about gender equality in that space. What is this? I mean, this is a perfect kind of opportunity to... what it does is expose the kind of lunacy of these state laws, right? Like, absolutely. It just makes them, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Florida kind of beat us to the punch.
I was thinking that too.
Education Commissioner Manny Diaz is threatening with our Attorney General to sue the Biden administration over this. Right. So I'm sure they're collaborating with their counterparts in those other states. And they're telling the schools, basically, do not listen to the federal law, which you can't do that. I mean, they need the funding. They get the funding from the federal government. And it's just like highway funding if you're not following the laws.
Right.
And honestly, I think at this point, the Biden administration needs to come down heavy on these states, start arresting people.
Agreed.
Start snatching funding away. And really, I hate to say that because that really hurts the students.
Exactly.
Right.
But
it's hard.
That's the only way to enforce the law these days.
Also, there may not. It also exposes the significance of who's going to be in the White House, right? That is to think about what White House is going to work to defend the rights of all students.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder how much of a heavy hand we'll see after this next election. Hopefully, hopefully it works the right way.